what I find really inspiring are learning new things. And I think that's kind of why I've started teaching other people, is because when I was looking for all these places to go out and learn, it was all like university courses and, you know, long-winded stuff that was going to sign my life away for years on end, writing loads of essays and, do you know what I mean? All the bits which I don't really need that bit. I just need to know how to work this tool and how to use it safely without chopping any fingers off or burning the place down.
I'm Robin Johnson, this is Yours for the Making, and I'm joined by the Salvage Sister herself, Charis Williams.
And it wasn't until I fell pregnant with my first child that I really started to, I kind of took a step back and started to think about my life. And I thought about how I wanted her to live her life and how I wanted her to believe that she could go out into the world and she could do anything she wants to do and be this strong, independent woman. But then I couldn't say that to her when I'm like, oh yeah, it didn't work out for me, I hate my life, but you go out there and you can do it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that.
This show tells the story of the makers, the people that create things, whether it's in wood or metal, whether they're artists or musicians or chefs. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell their story. What I really admire about what you're doing, you're bringing making, I suppose, for want of a better word, to the general public, to people that have never used any kind of tools or machines before.
I didn't plan any of this really. I just knew I wanted to do something creative and I just took a first step into it. And from that, I now weld, I woodwork, I teach workshops, and occasionally I do TV shows when they come up if it's got some cool people on it like yourself.
I'm Robin Johnson, this is Yours for the Making, and I'm joined by the Salvage Sister herself, Charis Williams.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you.
What's been going on?
Everything all at the same time, much like it is for you. Like when we talk to each other, it's like, oh yeah, all weekend working, all week working, all night working. Like it doesn't really ever end, does it? But
well, no.
No.
I think when you do your own thing,
Yeah.
you're sort of married to it, aren't you?
Totally. It just becomes your whole life. Like it's who I am, it's what I do, and it's what I really love doing. So yeah, I've run workshops, as you know, so I'm out all the time. I've got a great big van that I fill with all of my tools and pallets and God knows what else. And I've got a wood store in there and every sort of power tool you can imagine. And we rock up at places and we teach workshops for like everyone and anyone basically. So from beginners who've literally never even touched a drill before through to people who have done bits and bobs where it's gone slightly wrong and they're not really sure why. And then they come to us and they get hands-on with the tools all day and they leave with like a piece of furniture and they absolutely love it. So I mean, it really inspires me as well, because you can find when you're just working away on your own in your own workshop all the time, your head's just like, it's like tunnel vision, isn't it? So being around other people who are just beginning that journey, I find that really inspiring.
Well, it is, isn't it? When I was a teacher, it was the same sort of feeling for me. I got really inspired by the kids. I was almost like a big project manager. You got 120 kids that you're teaching and they're all doing different projects. You kind of be facilitating each one. I found that really inspiring, quite frustrating sometimes as well. But generally it's a really good feeling, isn't it? Passing on a little bit of knowledge and seeing where people take it.
It's their excitement as well as they come in each week and they're just like literally beaming. They're like, because I have like 12 kids at a time that come in to use the power tools as well, because we teach at Brighton Girls and they're from years, from age 10 up as well. So they're quite small. But yeah, they all come in there. They're all at the same time chiming in like, oh, I want to make this, I want to do this, I want to cut this, I want to... And I always say to them, get it on paper. Like we taught you how to design onto paper and draw it to scale, because I have no idea what you're all talking about when you're all talking at the same time. So getting them to sit down and actually design it on paper, I think, is the struggle in the first place, because they just want to jump straight to all the power tools. They're like, oh, what, we got to learn safety. I'm like, yes, you do have to learn safety to be in here with me. Thank you very much. Put that down.
My kids are the same.
Yeah.
My boy is 12 now and he's watching YouTube videos of all those, people on YouTube who are making, I don't know, river tables or whatever. It's like, yeah, Dad, can I use that saw that you go like that with? I'm not sure if a chop saw is the one for a 12-year-old just yet. and actually knowing that he probably wouldn't be super careful of keeping his thumbs out of the way. I've just, my garage workshop's kind of out of bounds, but every now and again I come home and he's set a little clamp up and he's sawing it by hand right next to the chop saw, but he's done it with his little hands and stuff. So he's pretty keen, but he's exactly the same. And I think it's something that a lot of people follow the same thing. They think, I know what I'm going to make, I'll just go ahead and make it. And it's that step of, hang on a minute, stop what you're doing, draw it, work out how big the bits need to be before you just start cutting them all up, and you'll save yourself so much time and effort. But I think it's adults that struggle with that as well. I know so many adults that go and buy a load of tools and go, yeah, I'm going to make whatever, a shelf or a table. Yeah, I'll do it. And that big step of, I mean, even the guys on YouTube that my son's watching, it makes for quite emotive watching, because they go and buy a bit of wood and they make a table and they just go at it and they make loads of mistakes. But I suppose it's good content for them, because they can show all the resin spilling out across the floor or the wood exploding or whatever it is. But that crucial step of, hang on a minute, take a second, draw it, consolidate that idea in your mind, that will help so much with when it comes to the actual making side of it.
Just like getting organised as well with all the bits that you need, and because you find like beginners do just want to like you say, chop a load of stuff up, get it covered in glue, and then they're like, oh, it's all wet and doesn't go together. Can I cut this now, or can I do this with it? And I'm like, no, sorry, mate. You're gonna have to wipe all that off, start again.
A bit of patina on it, a bit of varnish for the PVA.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what I really admire about what you're doing, you're bringing making, I suppose, for want of a better word, to the general public, to people that have never used any kind of tools or machines before. And, you know, for instance, you might have Sandra, 50 years old, never used a power tool. 5 minutes in, she's using a chop saw or a circular saw. You're there in the photo going like that. And there's, you know, 50-year-old Sandra's using a circular saw to rip down a bit of timber and stuff.
And they
brilliant.
love it. Yeah.
It makes it so inclusive, though, because for a lot of people that haven't been taught or have no experience of using tools, it's really intimidating. If you gave someone a chop saw, a router or a skill saw, you think they're going to look at that as if it's some kind of lethal weapon. So what you're doing is kind of opening the door to them in a safe environment, well, mostly safe environment. It's still terrifying. I'd be scared shitless trying to teach 30 people how to use power tools.
You have to have a proper a system with it as well. And I have lots of tips and tricks, you know, for all the safety and stuff. I have, you know, your wandering hand, for instance, where that's going, so you're not putting it in the way of, you know, harm's way. So when you're holding a circular saw or whatever, making sure their hand is on the front, telling them they've got to exert some downward force, and just really going through every little, you know, all the basics of the machine, so that they can just go home and they can cut straight lines. And I think it's really important to have the basics of the machine, and you can always grow from that, and then you can go home and you can design something and you can give it a go, and you know, sometimes you will fail with certain bits, but as long as you know the safety of it and you're not going to put yourself in danger, you've got your, you know, your glasses on, your ear defenders or whatever, then if you make a mistake, it will just be that your line's a bit wonky or whatever, and you can just cut again. So it's giving people the confidence and the knowledge to be safe while they're practicing, I think, is really important.
And you do that really well by scaffolding them and just giving them the confidence they need to
definitely
to go ahead with it.
I think it makes a difference as well when there's a group of beginners and they're all starting out from the same stage, and they're almost like, each cut they do, they're all going, yes. They're taking selfies and they're like, yes, get this in there.
Oh God, I couldn't imagine my guys here doing that. It'd be hilarious.
They came in here, they'd be like all over the place. I'd be like, don't touch anything, leave that alone, put it down.
Oh no, I don't know. We taught a course a couple of times in our old workshop, and it was fun actually. It was really good, but there was a big part of me that every time anyone was near a machine, you know, a spindle mold or something, I was thinking, oh my God, no, don't. I mean, use it, but I was just watching the fingers very carefully, because it doesn't take a lot.
No.
On fixed woodworking machinery, it doesn't take a lot for an end of a finger or thumb to be gone like that.
Exactly.
I've got a couple of guys that work here missing a digit. Not from working here, but I think if you're a lifelong joiner and you get to the end of your career without losing a digit, you've done really well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different now.
We didn't do the overtimes of the weekends, was well rested.
Well, we do try and do that here. We do a 4-day week here now, and we just work normal kind of hours. But when I first started, I'd come in, I'd do 20-hour days, 6-7 days a week sometimes. And it's always when you're tired and you know, your attention fades a little bit, you start get the nods or whatever, and you just go to cut. I've had a couple of times where I've put circular saw across the tip of my thumbnail, or just got a little nick and
just
thought,
give
that's
you enough to
really close.
Wake you up a bit, doesn't it?
Exactly, like a strong shot of coffee and a lot of blood. But they're getting way safer. We got a new saw. It's the coolest thing. The guy demonstrated it. It's one of those ones. It's not called saw stop. It's something else. But if the saw senses that a finger's near it, the blade drops down and falls off. So it's really safe. So I don't think it's possible to cut through any kind of flesh. And he demonstrated it with an aluminium bar, and I was like, but that's a bit of metal, you know. And he said, okay, fine. and the finger got close to it. Blade drops, totally safe. So when woodwork machines are completely safe like that, then I'd probably think, oh
Be a
yeah,
little
I'll
bit
start teaching courses in it again. But now we've just got too much stuff in here to do it. And I think the way that we're looking at teaching is from an apprenticeship. We have like I want to say 3 apprentices. We do have 3 apprentices, but one graduated 2 years ago now. So we take one a year. We have one first year, one second year, and if they want to do third year, they'll do third year, whatever. But that's the way we do it, because we can kind of build them into the employee that we need them to be as well, and give them all the skills that they'll need to be here. And I really enjoy doing that. And we keep talking about setting up a school of traditional joinery, because you know, the college is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. A lot of the colleges around here that teach joinery have shut, and they're all sending everyone to Hastings. As far as like Tunbridge Wells,
it's a real shame, isn't it?
It
Like,
really
we're really
is.
losing these hands-on skills, because you don't seem to find parents that teach their children anymore. Like a couple of them do, but mainly it's like your father has a job or whatever, and then you go off and find something else to do.
Oh, but it's
I think
terrifying.
from when they're little, just teach them how to use, you know, maybe not some of these massive machines, but, you know, hands-on skills, hands-on creativity, so that they don't then get older and they literally have no hands-on skills whatsoever, and it's like you're just working blind. Do you know what I mean? You've got to start from afresh. And then, like you say, the colleges are all closing down, and they took DT out of schools for many years. So the school that we're working at, they had a DT room just sitting there empty for years, till we came along, and they were like, please, can you inspire these kids to, you know, want to do DT so that we can start it again? And now they've packed out all their classes now. So
well done, you.
thank you very much.
Well, if anyone's going to inspire a bunch of girls to do DT, it's definitely you.
I do think they have a moan at him though, because he doesn't have quite all the tools we have, but we let him off.
So I watched your origin story.
You did?
Every single episode of it on Instagram. I really enjoyed it. And it was a real interesting watch, actually. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't know. And we've known each other for, a good few years now, since we did Kings of Wood. But before that, you've done loads. I mean, you've lived a hell of a life. Give me a condensed version of it, because we could be here for days for the full story. But how did you start? How did you get into being the Salvage Sister?
Well, funnily enough, I didn't actually go straight into a creative job when I left school. I really, really wanted to. I'd always wanted to be an artist, and I loved painting and drawing. And right before I could even like talk or whatever, I was drawing doodles and stuff, and my pad and my pen went everywhere with me. But then you go through school, and they don't want you to be an artist. They want you to fit into this neat little box where you're going to be working in an office or cleaning the streets, or, do you know what I mean, doing something to help the rest of society that is a menial job, really. They don't really want you to be an artist, inventing all these things and coming up with new ideas and running your own business. They don't teach you how to run your own business in school, do they? You're not pushed into something which kind of, you're more a mass, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? And they want you to put you out to the workforce. So, I mean, I went to go and see my careers advisor with all of my artwork under my arm, and I was like 16, and I was about to leave school, and I said, I've always wanted to be an artist, the only thing I ever wanted to do. And he was like, what do you want to do that for? Don't be so ridiculous. Go get yourself a nice office job, love. Like, he literally didn't look at any of my artwork. He just kind of chucked it on the side and was like, put that over there. Now let's talk reality, you know? He goes, look, you're going to end up, if you go down this artist route, you're going to end up like Van Gogh. Do you remember? He chopped off his ear, he went completely mad. He never made a penny until after he's dead. People talk about him now, but it didn't do him any good, did it? I don't know if that fella was having a bad day or what was going on with him, but I left there like head sunk low, and I just left, and I was like, my life's over. Everything I wanted to do in my life is a complete waste of time, never going to make any money, etc., etc. Went home, spoke to my parents, and my mum, who she did run her own business and did really well at it, but she obviously didn't want that for me, didn't think I could do it, or I don't know. But she was like, well, he's probably right, you know, go get a nice office, you'll get sick pay, you know, you'll get holidays, all that kind of stuff. And so I did, to begin with. I went and got a job at Lloyd's TSB, and I hated my life for 5 years. I was suicidal Cindy, like literally. And it wasn't until I fell pregnant with my first child that I really started to, like, I kind of took a step back and started to think about my life. And I thought about how I wanted her to live her life, and how I wanted her to believe that she could go out into the world and she could do anything she wants to do and be this strong, independent woman. But then I couldn't say that to her when I'm like, oh yeah, it didn't work out for me. I hate my life, but you go out there and you can do it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. So I just decided to follow my dreams. I thought, what's the worst that can happen? you know. And I just went for it after that. And that was kind of the catalyst, really, I suppose, because I was, you know, you come out of work anyway to have a baby, and it gave me that chance to think about what I really wanted to do with my life. So the first thing I painted was her nursery. So I did Winnie the Pooh around all the walls. I did the sky and everything. I spent weeks in there. And that turned out really well. Like, people were quite shocked. They were like, wow, this does actually look good. Didn't think you had it in you. And then from that, I started painting pet portraits of people. And after a while, I actually got, I don't know if you know about Paradise Park in New Haven. They've got all these massive, like, dinosaurs. They're actually 3D models of them, and so I painted them, and I did them all really wacky colours, because I'm not doing a load of brown and green for like weeks on end. It's not happening. So I did crazy colours all over them, and I used rollers for texture and stuff, and just went absolutely wild. And I saw people when they were walking around, and they were like, wow, I never thought they'd be this colour, and wow, look at this, you know. How did you know they have all these amazing colours on them? And I'm like, well, it's just in my mind, that's how they are.
I asked him what colour they were.
I went back in time. But yeah, I mean, we don't really know what colours they were, did we? So, and it was for children, so I wanted to make it inspiring. From that, I started painting at Drusilla's, and I painted loads of their murals at Drusilla's. I won't reel them all off because there's a ton of it, but the last one that I did was an 40-metre corridor, which was it looked like an airport corridor to begin with, but it had windows through part of it where you could see all the squirrel monkeys running around and stuff. So they wanted it like a tropical forest kind of theme. And again, I thought, really boring if I can't do browns and greens for literally months while I'm here. So that's going crazy colours as well. And basically, I used purples for the darks and yellows for the lights. And then I layered it up. So I used rollers because I've got an awful long stretch. It's basically like 80 metres, and the walls at some points were like 3 metres high as well. So I used loads of textured rollers, and so I'd roll up the trees like purple in the background that came out of the purple floor, and then use like a very light kind of white yellow wash over it, and then add more purple trees up through it. And then as it came to the foreground, there'd be more kind of browns and yellows and stuff on the trees, and all the green foliage and flowers and stuff popping out of everywhere. It did almost drive me insane, but I mean, I was sitting in paint, stepping in it. I felt like my whole life had been in this tunnel, and I was literally losing my mind. Every so often you'd hear whistling or something, and there'd be a zookeeper coming through, like rolling their hay through or whatever. And I painted that during lockdown because, well, obviously it was completely empty. Usually painting there is a nightmare because you've got so many people around, and they have to block off an area people are trying to walk through. And they want you to do it in winter as well, so it's freezing cold, raining, and you're literally like this, the claw. How are you supposed to paint detail with a claw like this? Can't do it. So, yes, and from that, so I started the woodworking as well in like, I was actually asked to go on a TV show many years ago, because I used to run a reclamation yard. This is too long, isn't it? Like,
No, it's fine.
it's a really long story.
We got all day.
So I used to run a reclamation yard in Brighton, which took old reclaimed stuff basically from building sites, well, not just old reclaimed things, but it could be anything that people didn't want from a building site. So what we found, that obviously the architectural salvage, people normally want money and stuff for that, so we were looking for free stuff that we could take back to our site and we could sell for a discounted amount. And it turned out to be that loads of places had brand new materials still in their packaging, so roof tiles, bricks and sanitary ware and floor tiles and everything you could imagine to build a house, wood and everything, even like kitchen sinks and stuff we had. And like literally these pallets were completely wrapped. They'd never been out of the packaging, and so we'd take them back to our yard and we'd sell them at 50% of the RRP. And from that, because we literally had no money whatsoever, and we were like, how do we advertise that we're even here? So we got in touch with the Argus and we told them, sent them our little story about what we were doing, and they really hooked into the fact that this was a completely new idea, where normally these reclamation yards, they're all really old stuff that's expensive, clay tiles and things. Whereas we were also selling, the concrete tiles and the bog standard bricks, engineering bricks, whatever came our way. And from that, because no one else was doing it, we had national press and get involved, and we had people coming down to film us for TV, for the news and things like that. And then a TV channel got hold of it, and they came down to visit us, and they wanted us to be on a new TV show. When I say us, it's me and my ex, who I was running the site with together, not together anymore. I don't want to be associated with him. But anyway, so because I had loads of my artwork, and I used to paint these Charis statues which were, classical Greek statues, those old, like Venus de Milo in Burberry I did Hercules in drag or in an Adidas tracksuit, and I
Brilliant.
did, what's his name? I did Michelangelo's David in a Borat outfit that got stolen. So I was like, I'm on to a winner here. I wasn't even annoyed. I was like, someone stole it. Like, it was like 5'2" and weighed a ton. And I did him in Ronald McDonald outfit and stuff as well. So I kind of started off just anything and everything, kind of painting stuff. And from the TV show that they wanted us to be on, once they'd seen this artwork and they'd seen all the reclaimed stuff, they were like, we want to do this in houses. So we want you to be the artist and designer of the interiors, and you're going to use all the materials that he goes out and collects for free, and we're going to do up these houses. So from that, I mean, I didn't really, that was like, 2010 or something. I didn't really know that much about power tools. Like, do you know what I mean? I think I'd used a drill before or whatever, but because we had no money and we had this has to work. I mean, I didn't want to be on TV either. I was so shy at the time. You didn't know me in my shy phase, but I would have been like, oh my God, no, I don't want to talk to anyone. Like, didn't even like going in shops to talk to people. Do you know what I mean? Or to buy a loaf of bread. I'd be like, they're going to be looking at me. I'm going to drop my money everywhere. Can't do it. Hate it. Rather starve. Yeah, they asked us to be on this TV show, which we did accept doing because we had to have the money. And we got up there and I like literally couldn't even work a tape measure. I was shaking so much. I was like, tape measure doesn't work. And we were sent up to Scotland for the first show, and it was the worst snow they'd had in 30 years. And why were they doing it in Scotland in winter? God knows. I mean, I said, I don't know that much about it, but I don't think you should be filming in Scotland in winter. So it snowed so bad that half the crew didn't get there. And we literally got the last flight up there, and it was horrendous filming the whole thing, because obviously loads of the materials that we got for free, the paint, the plaster and stuff like that, had all frozen. So they had to rebuy it. And they were doing things like taking out patio doors and like extending the building or whatever in the middle of winter. Yeah. So that show didn't work out due to logistics, financing, et cetera, But I mean, that would have been, they wanted that to be an ongoing show for like, decades, like the one of those reclaimer shows. I can't remember the name for anything, but one of their really long-winded TV show put me on that. So it basically, I didn't plan any of this really. I just knew I wanted to do something creative, and I just took a first step into it. And from that, I now weld, I woodwork, I teach workshops, and occasionally I do TV shows when they come up if it's got some cool people on it like yourself.
But you are a unique character, and I think that's part of your appeal. I mean, I'm surprised you're not doing a lot of TV shows, because you've got not just such a great character, you're very aesthetically beautiful as well. You're really, really skilled, but you've got the sort of character that people warm to straight away. And like, I'm always surprised when I think, Charis, why are you not on every TV show going?
I don't have an agent anymore. I can't be doing with any of that bullshit.
What it is.
I'm not really in it to do TV. Do you know what I mean? If someone finds me and they email me through my website and they're like, I want you to audition for a show or whatever, and I think it sounds cool, then I'll do it. But I find TV, although, I mean, you meet great people like yourself, but it is always such an emotional roller coaster. Like, every time I do a TV show, it's like your whole world changes. You know what I mean? And it is a lot of stress, and it just takes you out of your business and everything that you're doing, away from your family, because you are just in it, and you have to have tunnel vision the whole time that you're in the show. So I mean, it takes a lot. You kind of need to not have a life to go off and do it, I find.
Yeah, or be able to completely detach and have a family that understands, and a business that you can leave
with other people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand that or not understand it, but don't see that side of it for when you're doing it. There's a lot of people that do TV as a full-time job, in which case it's their job. But for people like us that do, a series
everything
here or there, but we've also got business and a family, and it's the hardest thing, because you get all the excitement of being asked to do a show. You think, this is brilliant. I'll do that. Oh, but you need to be over there 4 hours away for a month, and you're going to be there from Sunday night till Friday night. or maybe Saturday morning.
Whatever they say as well, it's not that time scale. They'll say it's from Monday to Friday. It will end up being the weekends as well. You'll end up being there till 10 o'clock at night or something on some occasions. But the first TV show that I was just telling you about, the whole crew, everyone, the director, everyone stayed 24 hours. Like they did a whole day, a whole night cleaning the place up, and then we filmed the reveal the next day. And they literally about 2 a.m, they were like, "You better get some sleep for this, tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to leave you guys here, but okay." And then came back the next day, but everyone's kind of shell shocked. But you find in TV, like it's the only industry really, where everyone in it is working on it like it's their own business. Do you know what I mean? Like they're all absolutely run ragged, had no sleep. They're all running around doing this, that and the other, because the show must go on. So whatever this needs to make it happen, it has to happen. So,
yeah. And I think a lot of that is when you've got, runners or whatever, or junior directors or whatever.
Having a runner, innit? I'd love a runner all the time. Yeah, get me this, will you?
Personal assistant or something like that. You have got one, haven't you?
I have assistants for my workshops, yeah. But I mean, my work, I have my actual workshop where I metalwork. It's mainly metalwork in my own workshop at home. And it's actually in my garden. Really lucky to have a great big long garden. And I've actually got 2 workshops in it now, because my old workshop that I built out of pallets and that, like a decade ago, when I started welding and metalworking and forging and stuff, I was like, so are you going to take one little spark and the whole place is going to go up? So then I built another workshop behind it with the help of a friend, which is all block work and concrete base. But we don't have any rear access. Like there used to be a road along the back, but now, because everyone's built on it, or, it's so overgrown or whatever, you can't actually get around the back. So all of that, 25, kilograms of concrete, each bag, I've got 5 tons of concrete down the end of the garden, each 25 kilogram bag, I moved myself down the end of the garden, like through the house, up the steps, down the end of the garden, and then all the sand, all the ballast and everything else, because while my mate was laying the blocks and that, I was like, I'm not wasting any time messing about. So I was running up there, that was my exercise, and then I learned how to do, laying the bricks and all that kind of stuff as well. And I think what I really love is learning. I love learning any kind of creative skill, so it doesn't matter what it is. I started not on real skin, but I've got a tattoo gun, and I've started tattooing as well, because I love that. There's no end to creativity. Do you know what I mean? Once you start, I'd love to get into glass art as well. I love doing all of it. So I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I just love it. I just love it. It's got to happen. But
it's a genuine passion.
Yeah.
Some people get into art, get into crafts, get into whatever they're into, accidentally, and just kind of go, oh, well, it's all right. I quite like making planters at a weekend and selling them at a fair or something. Like I just do it to get a bit of extra money. Whereas you've got a genuine passion for it, and it rubs off on anyone that you're around. Probably why your courses are so well. And we were speaking probably not long after we filmed King's the Wood, and you were saying, I'm going to do an online course.
Yeah.
How's that going?
I'm actually filming it.
Yeah.
It's actually happening. It's in production. Yeah, it is. Filming the online course, like there's so much that goes into it, obviously, because when we turn up to do a TV show, all we've got to worry about really is getting there on time, looking half decent and making this thing, which I'm saying all that we've got to worry about. That is a massive amount to worry about to get done in the time scale, because they're also going to say you got a week and then give you a day. You know about that. So it's... not only have you got to think about the presenting and, the thing that you're doing in front of you, but the sound and the video and everything else, which is quite a lot. So it takes a lot to put together. But I think now I've got my head around the format of it and how I'm doing it. It's working really, really well. And that's going to be launching soon as well. The way I'm doing it is it's each individual tool. So drills, for instance, and I'll go over every single material, all the drill bits, the drivers and everything, because I've learned so much from running these courses for so many years that I know exactly what all the beginners are going to say. So it's the best time to do it, really, because I have all of this experience where, I know exactly the bits that they're going to get stuck on, the things that they're going to find hard, and the bits that I've got to really repeat over again and, really make clear. So... it's really exciting. It is mind-bending. Like, I scare myself with it, but I always find that things that scare you, that you're like, oh my God, can I do it? It's really quite scary, are the best things for you. So I always try to look for things which put me slightly outside my comfort zone, because then you're growing. But like you say, some people, they'll start doing one thing and then they'll only ever do that. Like, I don't know whether it's because you put something on Instagram or whatever and people like it. So then they think, I'm just going to continue doing that. And they just stick to this one thing that they do continuously. I can't do that. It doesn't matter if someone's going to pay me £1 million to do the same thing forever. You know, year on, year out, I'm just never going to manage it, because what I find really inspiring are learning new things. And I think that's kind of why I've started teaching other people, is because when I was looking for all these places to go out and learn, it was all like university courses and, you know, long-winded stuff that was going to sign my life away for years on end, writing loads of essays and, do you know what I mean? All the bits which I don't really need that bit. I just need to know how to work this tool and how to use it safely without chopping any fingers off or burning the place down. And so it made me realise that actually that's probably what a load of other people are looking for. They don't, you know, they love to learn these things, but you don't want to have to go off to university or college or something necessarily, particularly later on in life when, you know, we've all got families and responsibilities and stuff. There's not time to sign your life away or the money to do it. So with my courses, they can either jump online and they can learn at their own pace. You know, you can do it little tiny bits, or you can do it in a chunk. And with the workshops that I run, they're either coming for a day or an afternoon, or they might be coming for an evening each Thursday for 2 hours. So you can kind of add all the courses together. So they can do the power tools for beginners, and they can do the pallet furniture, then they can do the design course. And you can do them years apart, or you can bunch them all together. So I've really kind of given people, the opportunity basically to fit it in around their lives. And I think that was really missing.
And is that allowing you enough time to work on your own stuff as well?
With difficulty. Yeah. This is the problem. Like, I got into this because I was like, I want to have a workshop where I can just make stuff all the time, and something else which gives me some money something else on the side which will give me the money to be able to do that. Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, it's so difficult to get into a creative career, and, you know, because you've got to fund your way through it, unless you're getting grants or something, or you've got rich parents. I actually saw a video on social media the other day, and it started off, you know, artists, this is what you need to know. If you want to get into a creative career, the best thing to do, find a rich spouse. And I just lolled, mate. I just laughed out loud, because I was that is the way. It is really difficult, because you do find that you get a commission, or you get a TV show, or you get something that comes along and you've got money. I've got money for a minute. And there's so many things on the business where you're like, oh, I'm going to get the new tools. I'm going to, you know, do that new marketing I was going to do, or whatever else. And then you might have a period of peace and quiet where, you know, you have to not let your anxiety and stress over money then affect your creativity, because this is the day that you have in the workshop, you know? So it is a constant battle between having enough money, having enough time, and keeping everything going, when really, when you're being creative, you need to take everything else out of your mind, not worry about the time you're spending in a workshop or the money or anything else, to really create your best work. So it is difficult. Very difficult, yeah.
A lot of creative people that have been on this podcast, the ones that are really successful, Mr. Doodle, Sam Cox, his dad is his business manager. So it allows Sam just to do his doodles. Not really much else, you know.
I wonder if my mum is listening. I'll send her this.
And Sam's dad does all of his business, but he'll do a lot of the meetings, he'll organise the exhibitions and a lot of his promotion. He's got an agent and stuff like that as well. But his dad's like the guy that sorts it all out, and it just leaves him to not really worry about it. Yeah. And I think when you're creative, it's really difficult to run a business. And if you're business minded, you're not necessarily, it's not that you're not creative, because you can be very creative in business, especially when it comes to paying tax. Yeah. But if you're creative, but you're trying to run a business, I think as a creative person, you just tend to I do anyway. I focus on something and I can't let go of it. And whether that's a new design, or whether it's a new method of doing something, or for me at the moment, it's like driving the business forward. How do I get the work that I want? How do I get that done to the best quality, the fastest time? How do I get to those clients? How do I get there? And it's constant. What it doesn't allow for is a little bit of a gap for me to go, oh, I want to design some nice furniture, you know. It just, because I'm completely obsessed by it 24/7. And it's a really hard thing to let go of. And I can imagine, you know, you've got a million different things going on. You've got the courses, workshop, trying to sell stuff, all that sort of stuff. What tools do I want? What this do I want? How do you find time just to switch off and go, I'm going to make something that I want to make now?
How do I do it? Well, at the moment, what I'm trying to do is like planned days. So I have filming on the online course day, then I have my editing days, I have one workshop day, then I'll have like workshop for myself in the workshop, and then I've got the workshop day where I go out and teach, and sometimes that's twice in a week as well, and I've also got prep for that. So I mean, I just have to be, there isn't enough time basically, but it is normally what gets impacted is my own creative time, where I'm like, oh, it's not enough time. I would have been in my workshop today, Rob, but I thought I got to see you. I got to see you.
Well, thanks for coming over.
I literally I don't leave my own home workshop unless I'm going out to run a workshop or I'm going abroad usually. Like, it's literally, I don't really have time to see friends. That's like once in a blue moon. But then when I do, they're really good friends and we have a really good time, if you know what I mean. But it is planning your time really carefully, but you can't plan for everything either. So you do find that, you know, sometimes things will bunch up and you're like, there's just no time for this today. And it's, you know, the courses, they're on and I've got people coming, that has to be ready, it has to be sorted. You know, if you've got a commission that is, you know, the deadline's coming up, that has to be sorted. So you know, whatever's at the top of the list just depends what's coming up, and it's right, that's at the top now, get that done today. And I have a list which is ongoing, like on my phone, that has these little circles next to it, and I click each one as it's done, and I like to add a new thing. When I don't take anything off the bottom so that I can look through it. When I'm having a day when I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm not getting anything done, I can look at my little list and I'm oh my God, there's hundreds of things on there that you've done. You're doing really well. Come on, we can do this next thing. We can do it. I think it's really important as well to not, because we all have good and bad days as well. Being creative is like a real roller coaster when you're making something as well. You know, you go through stages, particularly when it's something new that you're doing or something you really, really care about. Obviously, it is an emotional journey. Working on TV shows makes that like 100-fold as well, because you've got the world watching you and all the other makers that are making really cool stuff as well. I think trying not to let the anxiety of the time that is running out, you know, to affect what you're doing is a great skill as an artist, to be able to kind of compartmentalise, put that there for a minute and do something else.
Is that your watch telling you?
I don't know what that was. He's on silent.
Watch is telling you to calm down.
Did he tell me to calm down?
Your heart rate's elevated.
It was weird. When I was having a tattoo the other week, it did a little alert because it thought I was dying because my heart rate had dropped below 40 because I'd fallen asleep. Like
Fell asleep whilst having a tattoo?
Yeah, she's really good, my girl.
You've told me about it. Is it the same one?
Yeah, same lady, Ella, in Brighton, and she's really awesome. And it just doesn't hurt the way she does it. A few other tattoos I had hurt like hell, and now I'm getting into it. I reckon wrong needle maybe, or the machine was the wrong stroke. I'm learning it.
Really? Do you think it's something that you're going to have a go at yourself?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it.
You practice on Dale first?
Yeah. I've got quite a lot of friends that have loads of tattoos as well. And they're like, oh, you could do me. And I'm like, I'm going to do my sterilisation course thing and learn how, like, I'm going to do some more practice first. Thank you. Like, do you know what I mean? I want to be able to do it right. But I'm going to tattoo myself first. Just got to find a good bit that I can, like, get to. Yeah.
I still haven't got a tattoo.
Have you not?
I'm terrified
I could do
of
your
needles.
first one.
I'm terrified of needles.
You don't have to watch. It's all right.
I'd pass out. The minute you'd pick the finger
that
up,
would be more helpful,
out.
Actually.
Yeah, but you'd need to have it done before I woke up.
We just start with something small.
I remember the first time I had a blood test, I thought, yeah, it's fine. Didn't have a fear of needles that I knew about. And I sat there, doctor came over the needle. Thought, oh yeah, it's fine. Put it in my arm.
How odd.
Straight out.
I like watching all the blood come out. I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but
just talking about it is making me feel a bit queasy.
Really?
Yeah, I have to, if I know that I've got to have an injection or a blood test or whatever, I've got to prep for it by drinking loads of sugary drinks, so I'm not going to pass out, so I'm a little bit wired. And then just sit there and go, just get it done.
Not looking.
Take the deep breaths to Wim Hof oxygenate my body, so I'm not going to pass out. But no, I can't do it. Cannot do it.
That's a shame.
No.
That's a darn shame.
But then, I think I've got enough hair over my body that it probably, if I had a tattoo within a year or so, it'd be covered with hair anyway.
Just have to shave little patches around him, wouldn't you? Like
on the weekly.
Yeah.
I did. When I was younger, I did want one, but then when the fear of the needles come into full force, I know that I'm never going to be able to have one, and I'm okay with it.
That's all right.
So what's next? You're doing your online courses. You're doing your, loads of courses. You're still doing some commissions and a little bit of time for yourself. have you got any aims? Is there anything that you really want to do or you want to do in the next couple of years? Have you got a game plan for it?
The next couple of years, everything that I know is going online. Like literally everything. I'm starting off with just the power tools, but eventually it's going to be the welding and everything will be on there. So a whole online glossary. So you'll just be able to, oh, how do we work this tool? And click on it and then it will bring it up. So that is going to take up a lot of time over the next couple of years. And we're also branching out with workshops. So we were just in Brighton, and we're now branching out. We might do some, maybe not quite this far out of Brighton, but some off to the east, and we've got one over in Horsham as well. So just spreading out a little bit further, and I also I absolutely love my metalwork. I've been working on sculptures. I made a really cool spider sculpture recently. I find it really difficult though to actually put them online to sell them because I always just love them so much. So my spider I've just done, Dad was like, oh yeah, you're selling that one, that'd be great. Well, that'd go quick. I was like, it's in the hall on the wall, sorry. I've done it again. I'm like, I can't get rid of them. But yeah, I really want to do a lot more metalwork, sculptures. I love making industrial pieces of furniture as well. And just really get out there so that people know about Salvage Sister. I want to infuse everybody with creativity, and I don't. There shouldn't be people out there who can't use power tools that want to. It should be available for everyone. So that's my aim: making creativity available with power tools and making all of the tools available, the safety gear and everything in an easy one-stop shop, rather than people looking on YouTube and then getting misinformation and bits of information. It could take you then like a decade to try and piece all these bits together and you're not sure if it's right or not. So that's my plan.
You were talking about how busy you are and how difficult, it's fair to say, it is kind of managing it all and the levels of stress that, I know you go through because I go through them as well, and it is a roller coaster. When people talk to me about running a business, I just say it's a roller coaster. You have the lowest of lows and then next day you'll have the highest of highs.
Definitely.
And it just keeps going. It'd be
crushing lows.
It'd be boring though if it was just like the same every day. But with that said, are you happier doing what you're doing now than when you were working at the bank?
Oh God, a million times.
Really?
A million times happier. I don't think I had any more money when I was working in the bank anyway, because they don't pay much. And I was so absolutely miserable. And I just, not just depressed, but had this real feeling in my soul that I'm in the wrong place, that I'm wasting my whole existence. Do you know what I mean? It was like real magic to step out of that place the day I slammed that door and walked out. And I didn't even give it any notice. I was like, I came in and I said, goodbye. I got to the point of like, either this or kill myself. Which am I going to do? Got to that stage. Like, I'm not going to live the rest of my life like this. I can't. And the thought of going back into a boring, mundane job, some people might like it. It's fine. But for me, I need to be doing different stuff all the time. And running my own business, it's stressful, but it works for me because every day is different. One day's running a workshop, another day's marketing or learning a new skill, or there's so much that goes into it. It's all encompassing, and there's no time to get bored. I quite often, I'm always like, oh my God, where's the time gone? Whereas when I was in the bank, I'd be like, tick, tick, tick. It's only gone, it's 9:10, for Christ's sake, in the morning. I can't bear my whole day. So the worst thing, if you, is just boredom in life, I think, the worst thing for you, because it makes you, being bored, the devil makes work for idle thumbs, and that's you quote like that, and it does, because you end up getting into naughty stuff. I was a hell-raising, a little bit about what I was like. I was a wild child. I was a wild child before, like properly wild, and nothing could kind of pin me down. Do you know what I mean? When I was in the bank, I was miserable, but I lived for the weekend and I lived for after work, and I don't need to live for after work or live for the pub anymore or live for clubbing, because I'm doing I'm living my life every single day while I'm working.
But they're the first things that when you start your own thing, whether it's a business or you pursuing a career in a craft that you're following, they're the first things that go to the wayside. Yeah. All that sort of partying stuff. But I wonder if it is because you don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need that release because you're getting fulfillment in what you're already doing.
Definitely. I think that's what it is, yeah.
So if you could do anything, would you do what you're doing now?
I'd like more money, but yeah, I really like my life. I like having my workshop and my garden. I'm near to my children. It's one of the reasons the workshop was in the garden in the first place is because I started all this as it was a single mum. After we'd filmed that TV show, he was gone, and then yay, and then I had two very young children, like of 3 and 5, to look after on my own, and so I couldn't really have another them business premises or set that up. So having a business at home was the only thing that really would allow me to be there all the time with the kids. Because I started off making things like literally on my kitchen table or on the kitchen floor. I'd spray paint all over the floor, little dents out the table and stuff. And the kids, obviously, I'd go and pick them up. I'd be running down. Quite often, I'd forget to even pick them up, and I'd be like, "Oh my God!" And I'd be running down there, and I'd have ear defenders around my neck and dust mask attached and everything else. And I'd turn up for the kids, and they'd be sat there like, "Where were you? I'm really, really sorry." And my daughter would be like, "Oh my God, you've got a dust mask on your head, Mum. Just take it off." Like she's at that stage where she's like embarrassed about stuff. So yeah, it's really, really evolved from literally scrabbling around on my kitchen floor, just through sheer determination, really. I mean, there's been many, many times where everyone in my family, including my good partner that I have now, who've said, "Jesus Christ, why are you doing this to yourself? Wouldn't it be easier to just get any other job where you haven't got to think about it, you haven't got to worry about it, you haven't got to stress yourself to death and, be working 24/7 all the time?" And I'm like, actually, I like this stress. I think I like it more than that. No, I can't. I can't go into a boring, just a normal job. I'm not normal. Don't know if you've noticed, but I can't do normal stuff. Like, it's not for me.
But it's good that you can, self-reflection is quite an important thing. And I think if you can identify that about yourself and say, actually, what I need is a little bit of spice, a bit of an excitement.
Crazy,
yeah. If you can identify that about yourself, suddenly you save yourself a lot of trouble because you know that you've got to seek those opportunities that will give you that craziness that you might need.
Definitely.
Or putting yourself out of your comfort zone. But yeah, it's quite an interesting thought, isn't it? Because we've had our ups and downs here. Looking around the workshop now, it's great. I love it. We've got new machines. It's pretty cool in here. But there's been times where it's like, you're treading the tightrope.
So close to the bone.
And taking a step one way or the other. You either going to make it or you're not. And the consequences of not making it, it's, game over. See you later. House gone. Everything else. So it's terrifying.
Give me goose pimples, bro. I was thinking about it.
It's just because it's cold. but it's terrifying. But it's like the adrenaline that comes with it is
when it's great. When it's good, it's absolutely great.
Even when it's not, and like your back's against the wall, and you're like, my God, I've got to somehow get 50 grand this month to pay for everything, or whatever it is. You're like, oh my God, and you hustle and you get your nose to the grindstone and you just do it. And actually, it's tiring. Like I was just saying about this weekend, working all over the bank holiday weekend, just welding non-stop. I didn't like it at the time, but actually I'm like, I can do that. And sometimes you need those moments to make you realise that you can do it and you can apply yourself to it and just get it done. And in a weird way, maybe it's like a, S&M kind of thing. It's not that I like getting so tired that I like hurting myself and stuff, but I like putting myself through that kind of.
Once it's done, great, isn't it?
Yeah. And you look back on it and think that was a good weekend, but you're kind of proud that you've worked 100 hours over a weekend.
That kind of tiredness as well, though, is that once you do have a chance to finally sit down, that kind of tiredness is really quite. Oh, mate. I've worked really, really well. Do you know what I mean? I've really done good.
It's probably what normal people feel when they've done a marathon or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy.
So, I always ask one question of all my guests, and it is, what advice would you give to a budding salvage sister or salvage brother? If someone had given you a piece of advice in your younger years, when you were 18, in your 20s or whatever, when you first started your journey, what piece of advice either did you get or do you wish that someone had given you?
I wish someone had just said to me to just take that first step. Take the first step into creativity and just see where it goes and what is the worst that could happen. Because I wasted so much of my time, so many years doing things that I absolutely hated, where I could have got started so much sooner. Because, we're living in a first world country most of the time. What's the word? You're not really going to starve, are you? Do you know what I mean? So I think just go out there and give it a go, give it a try. And you are going to get setbacks, you're going to get knockbacks, and sometimes you're going to feel like you can't go on. But I think a lot of it is the fear that other people put in you by, like speaking to my family about wanting to go to art college or whatever. They were worried for me that, I wouldn't be able to do it, or I wouldn't put the work in or whatever else, because I didn't look like the kind of person that could do it back then. Like, I think they were very worried when I got pregnant as well, because they were thinking, Jesus, we're going to end up looking after this kid, do you know what I mean? But you don't know what you're capable of until you start, until you take that first step. And that is the hardest one, basically, the first step. And then once you're in it, all these other avenues will open up. You don't know about all the opportunities that are out there because you haven't taken that first step, if you see what I mean. And there are always more opportunities. Like listening to Eminem when he's doing that, you only get one shot. I listened to that once before I went on a TV show. I had this bit with Kirsty Allsop that I was shitting myself about. I was using a square, or like a roofer's square, but with all the angles, and I had to, show him how to do it. And I still now sometimes get hold of one of them and switch it around 3 times. I'm like, Jesus Christ, woman. But the actual panic in my chest of doing that, and because I've been listening to Eminem telling me, you only get one shot and all this, I was like, this is it. You either make this or break this. In actual fact, there's been so many opportunities. You make your own opportunity by going out there and trying your best and giving things a go, being a yes man, or a yes woman. So I think, just give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? Like, if someone had said that to me all those years ago, I might have actually, where would I be now? Who knows? Like, yeah. I think it would have made things a lot easier to go down, the normal route of going to art school or college or whatever and going on from there. But then you don't know really, do you? I mean, maybe going to art college and being very kind of restricted in the way they would have restricted you, like they do at school, where art is a very, I don't know,
it's linear, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of artists that I've spoken to didn't do very well with GCSE art or, in the college environment, but actually experimenting on their own and trying new things, they've really flourished. So I don't know if maybe, what if I had gone to art school and I'd had a really crap teacher or something, it might have quashed everything right back then, and don't know. So, yeah, you never know, really, and I think just give it a go.
Excellent. What's next, and where can people find you on courses?
Well, I have an Instagram, which is The Real Salvage Sister, where I put loads of stuff daily on there, and things that I'm working on and about my classes and things like that. And my website is salvagesister.co.uk. So you can find everything to do with me on there, and you can book a course, join the online course, or get to know me a bit.
Online shop as well?
Yeah.
Can we go on there and buy the spider?
Oh, spider's not on there at the moment, but I might have to make... I've had a lot of interest in it, and I'm like, but it's on my wall now.
Do you know, my dad's the same. Yeah. He's a ceramic artist.
Yeah.
Every time I go and see him, they live down in France now. He's got a really cool
lovely
studio and stuff. It's really nice. And he's making all sorts of stuff, illuminate tiles, pots, vases and stuff. And he makes... Some of it's really, really nice. And he'll come out and show, I've been working on this. It's really nice. Wow, Dad, that's great. You sell it. Oh, no, I don't want to sell that.
Yeah, I'm not selling it.
And he's just got this studio of stuff that he's made that's the best stuff. He's like, no, I don't. People will come round and look at his work and go, oh, yeah, can I buy that off you? He's like, no.
No, you can't have it.
My mum's there behind him.
For Christ's sake,
just sell it.
Yeah.
But that's a hard thing about being a creative, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sometimes when you make the best thing, you just think, no, I want to keep that. But then on the other side of it, you make something that's maybe you're not that proud of it. You think, I could do that a little bit better. You almost don't want to sell it because you think it's not good enough. No one's going to want this. But it's about putting yourself out there, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah.
I think I'm going to make lots of smaller things. So I do make like shelf brackets out of bits of motorcycle brake discs or sprockets and things where I cut, it's a circular disc obviously, and I kind of cut it into 4, and then I bend a piece of flat bar and I weld in the quarter of a sprocket or a brake disc. Yeah, they look really cool. So smaller things like that are easier to sell because they're obviously not quite as expensive as a big sculpture or whatever, and you can make more of them at a time. So I have added quite a few bits like that to my website, which do quite well, and pallet pullers and things like that. But I really want to get balls deep into my metalwork. I really want to find the time. Like, I'm looking at my schedule at the moment. I'm like, that's workshop day, that's prep day, and I'm trying to that's a workshop day, and that's a workshop day, and then just turn the phone off. I'm not in. Turn the Ring doorbell off.
Get in there, music on.
Yeah, exactly. Turn it up so loud that you can't possibly hear anything else.
Oh, good for
yeah.
you. Well, Charis, this has been an absolute pleasure and really nice to catch up with you again.
Yeah, you too.
And I wish you best of luck with finding some time for Metalwork.
Yeah.
And getting loads more people on your courses.
Oh, thank
and
you
the
very
online stuff. Let me know when it's on. We'll get it.
Oh.
We'll get it all over the place.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been amazing. Oh, I missed you.
Nice to see you. Cheers.